I'm joined this evening by Sudha Murty. She's a well-known author. She's also, of course, the person who first got Infosys going with that 10,000 rupee loan, and she's now a Padma Bhushan awardee. Mrs. Murty, thanks so much for joining us on NDTV, and warmest congratulations from all of us. Tell me, ma'am, when you got the news, who was the first person you told, and how did you celebrate?
Well, I was not aware that I will get it, but I realized the first person I told was Mr. Narayana Murthy, then my son, and then my daughter and daughter-in-law.
And what was the reaction of your entire family, from Mr. Narayana Murthy to your daughter Akshata, son Rohan, and of course your son-in-law Rishi and your daughter-in-law? What was their reaction?
They were extremely happy. All youngsters felt that I really deserve. But I was wondering, I have done my work and I enjoyed my work. And my reward is always in my work with the people. But when the national level it is recognized, it gives me immense happiness, which I never ever thought I will get this kind of an honor, in my life.
And in fact, Mrs. Murthy, Sudha Murty, really, this Padma Bhushan sends out a message to so many working women. You do, of course, run a foundation full-time. You're a very well-known author. But you had to, in a sense, put your career on a back seat when Mr. Narayana Murthy began Infosys. And then when you had children, you put your career on the back burner to look after them. And then, even despite that, you reinvented yourself, and now this recognition. What would you tell Indian women who are faced with the same dilemma of balancing family and their passion?
I want to tell all Indian women, particularly if they are working, once the children come, they become priority, and we always take a back seat because it is mother who gives the best values to children. And by the time children grow up, when you come to the market, particularly in IT industry, you will not get the same position what you were getting before, or the same promotion. You may not join the same level. You will feel bad. But please remember, you can learn, you can start anything at any age. Age is no bar. You should remember that age is no bar. And to do that, you should have passion. Actually, it is not only your knowledge, it's your passion which takes you at the top. Mm-hmm. And in my case, I had a very supporting system, good support system. And I always say the new proverb behind every successful woman, there's an understanding man. And in my case, it was not Mr. Narayana Murthy. I have a sister by the name of Dr. Suranda Kulkarni, who is a doctor, and she stayed downstairs, I stayed upstairs. She really helped me a lot in my work, all medical projects, and also bringing up my children. So if you have good supporting system, at any age, with passion, you can shine.
No, that's so true. You need an understanding man, you need an entire support system as well. But when you think back today, Ms. Sudha Murty, when you look back at your life, you were that young woman who wrote to J.R.D. Tata when at that time engineers weren't allowed, female engineers weren't allowed on the factory floor, and saying you wrote that letter which made the Tata group at that time under J.R.D. change their entire policy on hiring women. What sacrifices led you to where you are today?
Well, there is a lot of ups and downs will be there. If people think all successful people will not have done only ups, then they are wrong. But a mature person will convert every failure into a next step and climbs. I never imagined, I am a small town girl, Hubli is my place. I wrote a letter to JRD asking gender equality. I never knew that it will lead to a great decision later that there should be equal opportunity for women. Mm-hmm. And when I took a back seat in my career, I never thought I can reinvent myself in a different career. I never imagined. I used to write. I had a passion for writing in Kannada. I used to write when I was 29 years old. My first book came, and up to 2002 I wrote only in Kannada. 2002 my first book in English came out. It was a changing point probably in my life, because once your book comes in English, then it can be translated to all languages. It happened in my case. The books were translated in 13 Indian languages: Telugu, Tamil, Bengali, Marathi, Malayalam, Urdu, Dogri, Kashmiri, Okay, name a thing, Hindi. So once the books were published, my writing, probably most people liked it because it was simple,
Yes.
it was easy to understand, and it was relatable. More important, it was relatable. So I found out or reinvented myself, and I converted all my and devoted my energy in a different channel.
In fact, that's an interesting word or a question, the word sacrifice, because that is a dilemma today for many young couples where both are working. Did you see it as a sacrifice, stepping back from your career to look after the children? How would you resolve that dilemma for young couples or working women of today?
Well, it was difficult. Initially, it was difficult for me because I was a technocrat and I felt nice to work in a technical company. But the options were less. So I said, okay, now what is the best way to do that? Instead of cribbing, I rather do something else. So I worked part-time when children were young. I used to teach computer science. When children grew up, I did full-time. And when children left home, I started, the foundation I took overtime. A woman has to reinvent many times in her life compared to man, I feel. And one is, she is capable of, and that's what I want to tell all women, you are capable of reinventing and you have the capacity, and please exercise it. Many people do not understand it. It's like you have enormous power, but you are not aware of it. So I was aware later that I have a power to change and I have a passion to do that, and I will work harder than anyone else. So that is the way I look at it. But when you are married and you have children, you are bound to get these difficulties. I request also today's young couple, boys should help wife in the kitchen and take, bringing up children to some extent. All those things that will ease her difficult situation, because now it's highly competitive age. They have to learn swimming, they have to learn tennis, they have to learn music, all those things. And for a working woman, it may be very hard to do all those things. So today, you should have a good network of support system.
Yes.
And with the cooperation of your partner, you can bring up children. I have talked about it a lot more in many sessions, today's parenting tips.
No, and also, Ms. Murthy, what's interesting is that when both you, Mr. Narayana Murthy, all the co-founders started Infosys, it was very simple, it was done in a very tight budget, but Infosys created great wealth for the economy and also for the co-founders. You all became billionaires, and yet both Mr. Narayana Murthy and you were very clear that you would not forget the simple origins. Mr. Narayana Murthy has talked of how you cleaned your own toilets. He would fly economy class. He would talk about the fact that he didn't believe that CEOs should get multi-million-dollar salaries. How did you balance this? Why did you not use the wealth that both of you made very legitimately? It was pioneering for India. Why didn't both of you use that wealth for a 5-star life?
If it is needed, you should use the wealth. Otherwise, it's not status. It was never a status symbol for me. Now I am growing old. International travel, I said I prefer a business class because it's hard for me to sleep. But when I was young, it was not difficult because I can 2 hours flight, 1.5 hour flight. I can start working. That is not that. Status is more of your mindset. Let anybody talk about that. Oh, you have money, you don't go in business class, or you have money, you don't buy jewelry. Know that. On the contrary, I feel money is very important in life. But there is a mark after that you don't require money. The more the money, you can help more people. More people means many people are benefited, and that is the greatest joy for me. What is there to show off? I have wealth. So what? So what? There are rich people before me, there will be rich people after me. So what do you want to show? And why I have to live in somebody's eyes I am great? I live with my conscious what I am, and clear conscious what I feel and what I do is more important to me as long as it is legally, ethically right. I do not worry about how people look at me, conceive, saying that, oh, she's like this, like that. People will talk positive, people will talk negative. But you should know what you are and for what reason you behave.
No, and that's really interesting because in a sense, Ms. Murthy, you have so many different identities. Of course, now a Padma Bhushan recipient, an author, somebody who does a lot of charitable work, but also you are the mother-in-law of the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, your daughter Akshata. They face various controversies over her status, her tax status, and many other issues after he's become Prime Minister. What do you tell them? Even your husband, Mr. Narayana Murthy, had to face many charges, counter charges when he was much more prominent in running Infosys. How do you tell the high-profile members of your family? What advice do you give them?
Number one, I tell them people who are in the limelight always will have controversies in general, normally. Second thing, you should always true to your conscience. Have I done this one? Is it right? Is it morally, ethically right? Number three, any difficult situation, have patience, because I may lose this battle, I will win the war. Or think over it, this too shall pass. Number four, I tell them, everybody has a capacity, and that capacity has a limitation. Like a child can carry 1 kg, you cajole, then it will carry 2 kg, maximum 5 kg. Hardworking, all those things. But more than 5 kg a child cannot carry. Whereas the task may be 1 ton. How will you do the difference? So the best is, you always say, I will work very hard, I will do my level best, I will be right in my own right, I will do right to my country, remaining is leave it to the God, and I will work sincerely. Because you cannot control many things in your life. Probably you can control a few things in your life. You can't make someone to shut up. Okay, no, don't write about me. Don't talk about me. You can't do. People will write, people will do. But you should know what you are doing. You should not do wrong things.
And I think that's true. The more successful you are, the more controversies sometimes follow you. But so many things, you said you can't control things in your life, and so many things in your life have been so unexpected. When you lent 10,000 rupees, your savings, to your young husband, did you ever dream that he would set up Infosys, which would become one of the biggest IT companies in the world? When Akshata married Rishi Sunak, did you ever think he would be British Prime Minister one day?
Actually, when I gave Narayana Murthy 10,000 rupees, because I looked at this way, here the young man who is thinking of establishing a software industry, because he always believed India's the correct revolution is software industry, and he convinced me. For his dream, I gave 10,000 rupees. I never expected it to be a big company, we will get so much money. No, I never dreamt. And second thing, my aim in life was, let Murthy do with this 10,000 rupees whatever he wants to do. In case it is not successful, we will go back to work. And I wanted to have a 2-bedroom flat and a scooter to go around. That was what I was thinking. I never thought more than that. Okay. My expectation in life was also different. And when Akshata got married to Rishi, she was her classmate. And she really liked him, and they fell in love with each other. And I said, here's the boy, and he's very good and very, very patriotic feelings toward his country. And I never thought he will be a prime minister. No, I never imagined those things. They like each other and they want to marry. We'll bless them and let them marry and live a happy married life. That's all I did. Many such big things have come. When it comes, I always say, thank you, God. You made what, you gave us such a great opportunity. And please take our services for our country, respective countries. That's all I tell them.
No, so your instincts are clearly spot on, Mrs. Murthy. But also at so many festivals, literary festivals around the country, I've seen how people react to you, especially young children. You're often described as India's favorite grandmother because of the books you write. What would you say about the reactions you get?
Yeah, I really like that. I'll tell you why. I grew up in a village with my grandparents. They will give a lot of different advice in their life, and I used to be enchanted by that. Like my grandmother will tell, in life you never know how difficulties will come. When it comes, how you should be. So she will tell with respect to kitchen. My grandfather was a Sanskrit scholar. He will tell how education is, or the knowledge is so important. He will quote and tell. So I grew up with a lot of cultural wealth. But today, the whole scenario is so different, whether in India or abroad. Both parents work, houses are small, but grandparents don't live with grandchildren. So there is nobody to share this wealth to the next generation. So the only way I thought was to write in a very simple language to children and show them that there are a lot of wealth around apart from the material wealth. Learning, love for learning, helping others, having patience, being compassionate to others. All these things were very important, and if I tell them right now in the form of a lecture, they will get up in 10 minutes. If I convert them into stories, they will sit and listen. That is the reason I write for children, and I got enormous amount of followers, or whenever I'm in the airport, they call me, many children come and running to me with a Gopi. Gopi is my dog. Gopi's Diaries, the book on dog. And they say, Gopi is a G, Gopi is a G. We like Gopi, we like to hear grandma's backs of stories. So I always joke, I have become national Aji or national grandma now. Because people connect, particular children connect with me very well, and I enjoy their company. I always, because their mind is so fresh and like a kora kagas. And when you talk to them, and without any bias, it is so nice to talk to them. There is no pretense. There is no acting.
Absolutely.
It's such a joy.
No, that's really lovely. And finally, Mrs. Murthy, so now in the house in Bengaluru, we've got two famous personalities. Both, of course, have been recipients of high civilian awards. So who's the boss in the Murthy household?
Well, independent of our position of power, we are always more or less we are equal in many ways. For example, in human relation, I am the boss, I suppose, because I can handle it better. And in terms of patience, I have a lot of patience. But in terms of the other activity like technology, etc., Narayana Murthy is better. So we always kept some place for ourselves inside, space, a personal space. But when we discuss, I said, Murthy, this is my opinion, but however, decision is yours. Okay. I don't cross and I don't insist it should happen the way I want it. So is Mr. Murthy will never ask me whom I have given money, how I have spent on a charity, he will never ask. So we always respect each other's domain in general.
I think it's a secret to successful marriage there. Thank you so much, Sudha Murty, for joining me, and congratulations once again on your Padma Bhushan.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sonia. I had a good time.